Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo. This is an ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 10, right? Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 10. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the bottom cover off. We're going to be replacing the screen. The customer bought the replacement screen, right? We're using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove or undo the screws. I think some of these screws, if not all of them, stay attached to the cover, right? So we're just going to undo them. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right, now that we got the screws out, we're going to go ahead and pull this up. So you can see I can pull it up. If it gets stuck, we're going to have to see about where we can kind of pull it up from. But we got this side up. Okay, I'm going to slide my fingernail under here and see if we can pop the clips here. Okay, it's holding really strong. Let's go ahead and do this. Right, also if you can't contribute to the channel in that way, you can contribute or help out by liking and commenting on my other videos, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. But anyways, you can see I'm pushing my thumbnail in there and then pulling up. So basically like a pry tool. Okay, we might have to go from this side. There we go. Okay, so basically prying it out that way. Obviously you can use pry tools instead of fingernails, but I use my fingernails because that's what I always have on hand. All right, also there's a little hole here that's usually like a battery reset. If your computer's having issues powering up or something, you can try getting a folded out paper clip and then press and hold the button that's in there, push it for about 15 seconds, and then you should be good. All right, so now that we lift this up, there's clips. We're gonna go ahead and slide it this way, and there you go. We got the bottom cover off. You can see there's little plastic washers that hold the screws in place, so make sure you don't try and pry the screws completely out. Okay, we're just gonna quickly look inside here because I just need to replace the screen. So first thing we're gonna do is remove the battery, but let me get a thumbnail real quick. So there we go. Okay, battery's pressed into place. We just gotta remove the screws and then pop it up. All right, so there's one here. All right, another one here, another one here. Also, just to take note, the customer brought this to another person first, and they tried removing the screen. I guess they couldn't get it completely out, and then they gave up because they like dented up the back of the screen. The customer told me that they said they couldn't, or they didn't have the screen, and I think that was just their way of getting out of doing the repair. All right, but anyways, now we got all these screws out, so we're gonna go ahead and go under here and then pull this up just like that, and there you go, battery's out. Very simple. Battery model numbers right there, right? L20C4P71. They also have the ASM part number and FRU part number, whatever that means. I usually just use the main model number there. All right, so there it is, and then it has this little thing. It just kind of clicks down into place onto these little pins. All right, so we'll set the battery aside, and I'm just gonna quickly show what's inside here. All right, after disconnecting the battery, it's always a good idea to carefully open the laptop and then press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Right, this makes it a lot safer to work on, and it's almost necessary to do when replacing a screen. If you don't do it, then there's a very good chance you're gonna fry your screen. You can fry the cable, the LCD LVDS cable, you can fry the backlight circuit. So you wanna make sure, take the extra time, 15 seconds to do that. You can hold it longer if you want. I don't know if you can see the little bubbles from the break in the screen. Oh, you can see the cracks, there you go. All right, anyways. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the inside. So you got the end of the LCD LVDS cable here, all right? Since I don't need to pull these out, I'm not going to mess with them because there's always a chance you can break it, but it looks like this kind, I think you pop it up. I can't tell. It might be sliding out or pop up. Usually if you're not sure, the best way is to check online for the part itself, and then you can see what the part looks like and then what the connector looks like. And yeah, like if you can't find out, you would find the motherboard and then you can see what it looks like. That's how I figure things out. All right, people ask me like, what's this like, what does this look like, how does it work? That's how I figure it out. If I can't find it, I'll look for the parts and then I can tell just from looking at the pictures. Here's the wireless card soldered down to the motherboard. The antennas, if you need to take it out, you go from the tail and you just pull straight up. I have videos showing that, so if you want to see, try and look for those. All right, I'm not too sure what this little cable's for. There's no labels or anything, so yeah. All right, headphone jack is here, interesting. It's held down with 2 screws. It doesn't look like it's soldered to the motherboard, but it might be. All right, again, I'm not going to mess around with stuff that I'm not sure because I'm just here to fix the screen. I don't want to break more stuff. You got this cable here, most likely for the camera and sensors in the screen. All right, CPU soldered to the motherboard. This has the heat spreader, heat sink, which pulls the heat over to here, and then the fans blow the air through. You got this one connector for both fans, it looks like. M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here, 2 screws. After you remove the shim, you should be able to pull it up slightly and then slide it out that way. All right, this card, it's possibly for another SSD, but usually what they use it for is like a SIM card for a mobile internet connection. You can see they have these little routers, like guides for wires. These are usually for antennas. All right, it looks like you got multiple speakers here. So connected right there. Usually I grab it by the wings and I kind of just wiggle it and eventually it pulls itself out. Got the keyboard connector here. It looks like there's a flip latch that you flip up to pull it out. Touchpad connector. It looks like a kind of one of those push down connectors. So I would go under there and flip it up. Again, I'm not going to risk pulling out stuff here that I'm not sure about, but that's what it looks like. Here's the little button for the battery reset. There's a little connector here. I'm not too sure why that's there. There's the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. It's a CR 2016. All right, there's a different part number there. I don't know if that's going to be necessary. I don't even know if you can read it, but there it is. All right. Also, if you're wondering, this speaker has a wire going across to the other speaker, so both speakers actually plug here, and then you have this tiny speaker going in and plugging up there as well. All right. So let me see here. This bigger speaker, oh yeah, it goes over here. The tiny speaker has a little wire going underneath, and then it kind of merges with this, and then has another wire coming out over there. What else we got? I think that's about it. The wireless antennas do appear to be going into the screen. And then, yeah, there's also a case intrusion switch here, so it knows that the cover's been opened. It has this little springy loaded tab thing there. Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and pull the screen out now. So again, the customer already brought this somewhere, so this piece comes out easily, but there's some double stick adhesive. You have to kind of peel it very slowly. All right, you would just go like that and slowly peel it up. Hopefully it will stick down well enough, because this kind of adhesive, I don't have more of it. It's like a super sticky, usually these are like stretch release, that you stretch it out and then it comes off. So there you go. You can see a lot of the top part's intact. The bottom kind of got torn up because it's stuck to the bottom of that screen there. But anyways, so what happened was the customer brought it, and then I was opening it in front of him just to check it. Okay, so normally there's stretch release adhesives going down the sides. This one also has a stretch release going along the middle here. And the person, I don't know if you can see the crack going in there. There you go. I think they didn't know, and they were just trying to pry this up really hard and then cracked it even more. But anyways, so usually there's a tab either here in the tops or at the bottom. So depending where the tab is, you basically have to grab that. It's like usually covered in a black plastic, and then the tab itself is usually like white or other colors, but you would grab it and then you would pull it straight back and it will stretch out. And as it stretches, it actually releases itself. So you just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and it'll like slowly, like it'll first stretch here, which will release the adhesive here, and then the stretch will continue all the way down, all the way down. So you kind of have to like kind of pull it like this, like keep pulling and pulling and pulling. Try and make sure that it doesn't stick to itself, because if you can pull it out without it sticking to itself, then you can actually reuse the adhesive. All right, it will stretch a little bit, so you might have to cut a little bit shorter, or sometimes I'll like zigzag it like this to make it so it uses the whole length. But yeah, all right, so now that we've gotten that off and I explained the stretch release adhesives, make sure that you pull those out. So there's one here, and then they put one in here that has a little like hole in it, and you can use like a little needle or pin to get in that hole, kind of lift the little black tab out, and you actually have to pull it sideways because the adhesive will go along sideways here. You'll see when I put that one back. I think they tossed the other one, so I can't put those back, but I might have some stretch release adhesive somewhere. somewhere. We'll see. All right. Anyways, now that we got that, we're going to flip the screen forward. And here you can see the screen cable. And actually, it looks like he did try and rip this out. So maybe he did get it out. But you can see I was talking about this dent here. So I think he was just trying to rip it forward because, again, most computers come with just stretch release on the sides. So I think he didn't know to check those. You can see here. And it looks like he also bent this, so I think he was probably just trying to forcefully rip it up. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be bent up like that. So, yeah. Okay, from looking at it, I'm assuming the stretch release adhesive went up into here because there's this foam here, and I don't think they would have made it go down there. What's that? That's a stretch release adhesive tab or adhesive tab. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and get this out. Hopefully they didn't damage anything. Because they peeled this up, I'm a little bit worried that they pulled this out without disconnecting the battery and fried something. But anyways, there's this flip latch here. Let me zoom in for you. Okay, so there's flip latch. Flip that up. Once you flip that, you can go ahead and pull that back. And there you go. The screen is out. So the screen model number, if you want it, there's all these different numbers. Sorry, there's all these different part numbers and everything on here. Hopefully you can see. I'll do this, and then you can pause if you want to read it. So there's this part number, there's this FRU number, but the main one is going to be this, R140NW4D space R0. That's the model. And then there's the hardware number 1.4 and firmware number 0.1. So this is, usually they'll have the screen size, so there's a 14-inch screen. That's why it has that 1.4 number. All right, so let me go ahead and get their replacement screen. So I'm not sure how they found the screen because they got a replacement, but as usual, it's not the exact same model. It's like a compatible model. So I don't know. A lot of the sellers, I guess, they know that the screens are somewhat compatible, so they will list them as a certain model, even though they're not, or whatever, as long as it works with the computer, I guess. So we'll see. As you can see, this one's wrapped in like some aluminum foil instead of that black stuff. Okay, so we have the screen here. I'm just gonna line it up there. And then we're gonna flip this, make sure this tab is held up and back. And then we're gonna line this up. Okay, get this in, and then pull that. All right, you'll feel it click into place. Then you latch that down, make sure it clicks as well. And then you can tape this thing back on there. Okay, so we got that. I'm gonna zoom out here. Okay, like I said, we have a stretch release adhesive tab here. It's going to be a little bit difficult because now the computer is hanging off the edge of my desk. I'm going to have to try and hold that up while I go ahead and put the stretch release adhesive back in to show you guys. Okay, so this is what the stretch release adhesive looked like that was hiding there. So this piece, you can see there's this, like I said, the little hole. So this just tucks up here, and you can see how it's cut like that. So this would sit up there. Okay, I'm assuming this is how it was because I don't know if the previous person that worked on it changed anything from here, but we got that, and then we'll run this. So this part is a little higher, this part's a little lower. I'm assuming this adhesive went across the higher part or the thicker part because, I mean, yeah. This part is like lower. These adhesive tabs are thicker than what I usually see, so I don't know, it could be different. Let me see if I have some thicker adhesive tabs. I have some of these really thin ones. I don't think they're gonna work for this job. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I have any of the thicker. I have a lot of these thin ones. Okay, I have some here. Okay, so this is what some of these adhesive tabs kind of look like. So here you can see it has these black things and then this. Obviously they're different for every model, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to peel this off. It has like a thing where they both stick on, and then what you do is you get the top all the way up here to make sure that the black plastic is going to be exposed when you put the screen in, and then we'll stick it on the white plastic piece and just work our way all the way down. Okay, so there we go, just like that. Stick it on. All right, we'll get the second one and do the same thing. So peel that off. You want to be careful because, see, they have this little thing here. I don't know what this thing does. Is it just a light? Oh, that's the ThinkPad light. So the other person, I guess they didn't peel it out right, and now this thing is just sticking up. So hopefully this light wasn't damaged. because I don't know if it's sitting completely flat on there. It feels like it's hitting something. Well, there we go. I'll stick it back on like that. Hopefully it's within the holes. There's not really much place for it to move around. And this has also a raised bump, so we're gonna go over to this side, okay? And we're gonna stick this all the way up there. And then we'll get it stick down and work our way down. Just like that. All right, so now we got that. What I'm gonna do first, before I stick the screen back into place, which I probably should have waited to put that as well, but I'm gonna flip this over, okay? We're gonna go ahead and get the battery back in, and then we're gonna power it up and make sure it's working. So make sure you get the battery facing the right direction. I'm gonna line this up with the screw holes here, okay? All right, this one has a little raised bump to help guide it, and then we're gonna push that back down. Okay, so let's go ahead now and power this on. So I'm gonna hold the screen just so it doesn't stick down, and also be careful not to open it too far because the battery will fall out. All right, I'm gonna push the power button now. Where's that button? It's hard to do this upside down. I think is it on this side? Okay. So push the power button. I see the fan spinning. All right, the fans are spinning. So far, nothing's on the screen. So I'm a little worried. The fan stopped spinning. Now one fan. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, it's working. So we should be good. All right, let's let it boot. And then we should be good to go to peel the adhesive strips and everything out. Is it starting up? There we go. All right, so I'm gonna shut this down real quick. Oh, it's touchscreen. Okay, so that explains why it has that other connector is so big. Anyways, I'm gonna shut this down. Uh-oh, is it not? What just happened? Oh, the little touchscreen protective thing is in the way, so I'm gonna have to use the keyboard to shut it down until I peel off the layer. You'll see what I mean in a bit. All right, so we're gonna shut this off. Okay, let me wait till this light goes off so I know it's completely off. And then I'm gonna pull the battery back out just so I can work on it easier. Okay, it's off. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this battery back out. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna carefully let this flip back over. We're gonna have to peel the non-adhesive layer off, the blue layer. Okay. Come on. Okay, it might help to use like a little needle or something. So let me grab my little pin tool. Okay, so I have this little tool here that makes it a little bit easier. So we're gonna try and just lift the blue portion of this. Okay, it's actually lifting everything, but there we go. And then we're gonna peel that off. You wanna make sure to roll it back, don't pull it straight up because it will pull up and then it will create bubbles. So, all right, so we're gonna do the same thing with this one. All right, and hopefully this adhesive is thick enough. Okay, then the next trick is you wanna make sure that the top of the screen goes all the way to the top. So I'm gonna flip it upside down like this. I'm gonna carefully lower this, get my hands underneath or my fingers underneath, and we're gonna get one corner up here first, okay? Push it, pull it all the way to the corner, and then go to the other side. Make sure that goes in, same thing. Make sure it's also centered because this screen appears to be a little bit less wide, so I don't know if you can see, but there's a gap on both sides. And we're gonna slowly lower it down and drop it into place. Then you can go ahead and kind of work your way along the sides, stick it down. All right, so this might actually also be for the touch screen. Sometimes they'll combine, so it might be screen and touch screen, and then this might be the camera sensors and whatever, microphones and other things. Okay, anyways, now that we got the screen in, we're gonna peel this off. So just go like this, and again, you roll it off, don't pull it straight up. Okay, so this is a matte screen. I don't know if I guess the original was also matte, so that's good. All right, so now we'll put the bezel back on. So the bezel, in order to put this on, what you do is you wanna start with the corners here, line it completely up, push it as far up and to the side as you can, and then stick it down, and then work your way down the side here. Okay, make sure this little switch gets in there properly, and we'll just continue working our way down the side. Okay, Stick that down. Okay, and then we'll work our way now down the sides here. Again, push the little thing outwards to make sure it's all the way to the edge. Okay, there we go. And then same thing with this portion. Stick that all down. Looks good. It's a little bit lumpy because the adhesive that's on there, but it is what it is. I don't have long bits of adhesive to put there, so I do have like other double-sided adhesive, but it's not the same kind, so we'll see. If it comes out, I'll have to use that, but I have like an acrylic clear kind, and it holds not as well as this kind of whatever stretch release stuff they use. Right, so again, line up that raised mount, get that in, push that down. Now we'll get all these screws back in. Okay. I'm going to loosely fit it first just to make sure everything's good and aligned, although they do have that little raised tab to help align it. I like to pull this up, like pinch both together to kind of make sure that's completely in place, and then we'll tighten that down. All right, now we can go ahead and tighten all of these. Then we'll get the rest and we should be good to go. All right, and again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade or repair their device as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, let's go ahead and get this back. So this, as you can see, have those little tabs. So you want to put that down first, and then make sure it closes the gap. If it's sticking out like that, you're doing it wrong. It's not in right, so you got to lift it and readjust it. Make sure it's in all the way. There we go. Then we'll just work our way down, click everything in. We'll start with this screw here. I like to twist it backwards, hear it click, you hear that, and then tighten it down. All right, so let's get all these screws back in, and then we'll power it up, make sure it's working well. One other thing I highly recommend, well, not highly recommend, but that you should do is after installing a new component, screen, whatever, new SSD, even if you migrated Windows and everything over, you want to actually start up the computer and then click restart. Don't shut it down and power it back on. You want to restart, because in Windows 10, Windows 11, all these new computers, the shutdown doesn't do a complete restart of the system files, so you want to make sure to do a restart. That way it can actually get the system files and everything to recognize the new hardware. All right, so flip this back over, power it back on. All right, you see the light, gotta wait for it. Put this tool away, there we go, the Lenovo screen's back on. Okay. And Windows is gonna start up. And again, it's always a good idea to restart the computer one time, so let's wait for it. There we go. We're gonna go down here. Okay, you can see now the mouse. Oh, can you see it? There you go. The mouse is good and the touchscreen is good. I can swipe it. If your screen isn't coming on properly, or the mouse isn't working, or the touchscreen isn't working, you might have to plug in an external monitor and then do the restart, because sometimes with the broken screen or with the new screen, the screen is so different that the computer doesn't even recognize it, or it thinks that you don't have an internal screen, or it's the secondary screen, so you have to use an external as the main screen. So not always, but it happens pretty often, so I'm just letting you know, just in case you run into that issue, you know what to do. All right, so it's restarting right now. It's taking its time, you can see. All right, also this thing feels weirdly lumpy, uneven. Is there something not clipped in? We'll have to check that after. All right, so once it finishes restarting, we should be good. Also, you want to make sure that this sliding mechanism for the camera works. All right, it looks good. And yeah, the frame looks good. I think as long as you don't try and get your fingers in there and rip it out or something, then it should be okay, because the screen is held onto the back with those stretch release adhesives. Again, if you don't have stretch release adhesive, you can use regular double-sided tape, but I would recommend not to use so much. I would put like a small little square there and there. That way, whenever you need to take out the screen later, that it'll be easier to do. All right, if you for some reason break it again. All right, so I'm gonna shut it down, close this up, and I'm wondering why this feels lumpy. It looks like it's all in place. It looks like it's all in place. Yeah, that's weird. Like this whole gap is flush, so I don't know. It's weird. It's weirdly lumpy feeling, but like I don't know if the customer dropped it and bent it. I do see like a weird bend here, so I think they probably dropped it and bent it. That's probably why it's lumpy, but I don't want to like try and bend it back and then I'll end up breaking the screen. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it helped. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.